Welcome back to Redirecting. I have a very interesting article that was shared with me about jobs concerning police officers. Now, you may want to listen at this because I see something happening here that is very, very interesting when you know and understand the mindset of people. I often talk about reprobates on this channel. Okay, a person who just cannot connect to the truth. But there's some interesting things to note here in this article, so I'm just going to read it bit by bit and just kind of cut in as I go. But the article is on the Washington Post, and it says, job applications plummet at most U.S. police departments. Okay, it says perceptions of policing healthy economy contributes to decreased applications at 66% of departments. Okay, now it says Chuck Wexler talks to police chiefs frequently as head of the Police Executive Research Forum think tank in Washington. Recently, he asked a room full of chiefs to raise their hands if they wanted their children to follow them into a law enforcement career. Not one hand went up. So these people, they don't even want their children to become police officers. There's been, families where the grandfather, the father, and the great-grandfather, the grandfather, the father, and then the children would follow suit. But a lot of these people are saying, look, I don't want my children to follow suit. But what I find interesting is there's going to be some hypocrisy in this article as I read on. And some of you'll see it right away, okay? It's going to be some hypocrisy, but it's very interesting that, the job that a lot of young men wanted to grow up and be, they wanted to be police officers, not so much anymore. But you'll hear their reasons, and of course I'm going to share mine as well. It says nationwide interest in becoming a police officer is down significantly. In Nashville, job applications dropped from 4,700 in 2010 to 1,900 last year. In Seattle, applications have declined by nearly 50% in a department where the starting salary is $79,000. Even the FBI had a sharp drop from 21,000 applications per year to 13,000 last year, before a new marketing campaign brought an upswing. So they have to do marketing campaigns just to get people interested. Okay. But again, you're going to hear some of their reasoning in a moment, in which the hypocrisy just rings. It just rings so loud and clear. And retaining officers once they've joined is getting harder too. In other words, some of them, once they join, keeping them, they're like, look, I'm out of here. Okay. It says in a Perf survey of nearly 400 police departments, 29% of those who left their police job voluntarily had been on the force less than a year. Wow. An additional 40% had been on the job less than 5 years. At a Perf gathering in Washington on Tuesday of police chiefs and commanders from across the country, many attributed their declining numbers to a diminished perception of police in the years after the shooting and unrest in Ferguson, Missouri. Wow. In 2014, and an increase in public and media scrutiny of police made possible by technology and social media. So they're saying that because of what happened in Ferguson, and because of technology and social media, people have a diminished perception of police, right? No, what social media and technology has done, people with their cameras and stuff filming and doing all of that, what that has done is allow people to expose their dirt, right? But in their minds, they're saying, well, social media is, they're going to get even more into the hypocrisy as I read on, but they believe that those are the things that have them looking very bad, a diminished perception. They don't want to talk about what they are doing to people, right? But diminished perception, blaming it on social media and technology. Okay, back to the article. It says, there's an increased potential for officers to be criminally liable for making a good faith mistake, said Terry Salt, the police chief in Hampton, Virginia. We're seeing a lot more media coverage of officers being prosecuted, and that weighs heavily on a lot of officers' hearts. That's a stressor on whether I want to stay in this position or not. So listen, they are saying because more and more cops are being criminally liable for making good faith mistakes. No, criminally liable for killing people. That's not a good faith mistake, because they're being held responsible for their criminality. That weighs heavy on their hearts and is a stressor. So it causes stress to you to not be able to get away with killing an innocent person. Okay, I'm going to continue on with this article, family. Okay, Russ Hamill, an assistant chief of police in Montgomery County, Maryland, said he would prefer that his kids enter another profession, even lawyers. He said to Big Laughs, "It just has changed so drastically," Hamill said. "I see the treatment of our street officers out there. I think it's time for somebody else to take the torch for a little bit." They see the treatment of their police officers. Their focus is the treatment of their police officers and not how their police officers are treating others. So they don't see themselves as the blame at all. They see that being criminally charged for killing people, or the social media just running their stories in the ground and all of this, they see those things as the reasons why it is not a good idea to be a police officer. So their goal is not really to protect and serve. Just based on their own admission there, they don't want to be held criminally liable for doing things that are against the law. If you're being charged with things, that means you've broken a law. Okay, back to the article. It wasn't all doom and gloom in the gathering of 250 law enforcement executives at the Marriott Hotel. The police commanders traded ideas on how to recruit and retain quality police officers, including lowering the requirements of a college degree. Okay, I'm not going to deal with that part right now. Relaxing rules on prior drug use and easing tattoo policies. So, a druggie with tattoos and a high school diploma. Think about that for a minute. Not that it's any better now, but lowering the requirements to a person who's used drugs, tattoos, and all he has is a high school diploma. Just imagine that in your mind, okay? Imagine that for a minute, okay? And then it also says, making departments more welcoming to minorities and women, in part by providing them with mentors and physical training, has enabled Temple, Arizona to maintain its recruitment numbers. Okay. The videos of police misconduct and fatal shootings have damaged the perception of American police officers, but not irrevocably, said Antoinette Archer. Of course it's damaged perception. Who wants to go out and be killed for carrying a case, okay, or a bottle of soda? Who wants to be killed for those reasons? Of course the perception is lowered. Okay, back to the article. Okay. It says, many people are taken aback by the brutality, not by the profession, she said. If we can be inclusive of women and people of color, those individuals who can see a part of their fabric in the department will come forward. If the environment is not inclusive, you're going to lose them. Okay, now listen to this. When Wexler asked the room if anyone had problems recruiting for diversity, every hand went up. What does that mean? I'm going to read that again. When Wexler asked the room if anyone had problems recruiting for diversity, every hand went up. So are they saying that they had problems, they don't want to recruit for diversity? Or when they've tried to, they've had problems? I'm not understanding how that's worded there. Are they saying that they don't want diversity? Is that why every hand went up? Anyway, back to the article. Maybe someone else can better interpret that for me. Says the trend towards fewer police officers per capita has been steady for 20 years, according to findings from the Bureau of Justice Statistics. Although the U.S. population has risen from 267 million in 1997 to 323 million in 2016, the number of full-time sworn officers per thousand U.S. residents has dropped from 2.42 in 1997 to 2.17 officers per thousand residents in 2016. The raw number of sworn officers peaked at nearly 725,000 in 2013 and now down to just more than 700,000. Houston Assistant Chief Lori Bender said, Houston should have 2,000 more officers to efficiently handle its population. Some of that is attributed to increases in police efficiency. Wexler theorized that some decline may be from the gradual retirement of the 100,000 officers hired nationwide as part of an initiative by Bill Clinton. Okay, there's much more to this article that I'm not going to read. It's a very long article, but I read it all the other day, but I'm not going to read the rest for this video because the main portion, if I remember, I'll leave a link for you, but the main portion I wanted to point out was the hypocrisy, the fact that their belief is that police officers are in more danger because of a rise in criminality, but what is actually happening, if they were realistic and if they were being honest, they would see that a lot of people are saying, look, I'm not doing anything. Is this a police officer about to kill me? Now, that's even with white citizens, okay? A lot of people are not taking the risk, and I'm not saying that this is a good thing. I'm saying they have created a population of people who are afraid of the police rather than depending on them for safety, because they are supposed to uphold the laws, okay, and they are supposed to provide what they claim as liberty and justice for all, and they're supposed to be fair in their judgments and their decision making. They're supposed to be protectors, but a lot of people are not feeling that protection these days, okay, and so they are starting to question whether or not their life is in danger. And so when you have a scared population that you've created, then what you're going to get are people who are going to make decisions. Okay, so the police are making split-second decisions. The citizens are doing that. So there's a toxic environment that has been created here. Everybody's afraid. Police are afraid, so they're shooting innocent people. Citizens are afraid, so they're defending themselves against someone who they think is going to kill them for no reason. So this thing just gets really, really wound up and out of control when you really, really look at everything in its entirety. Looking at everything in its entirety is just really, really strange. But these behaviors, if we don't deal with what is happening, it's going to be like the wild, wild west. Essentially, it's already like that. Police are shooting people 2 seconds upon arrival, shooting children. When you get to the point of shooting children, you are in a very bad place, very bad place. So anyway, I just wanted to share that article with you that a lot of people are just no longer interested in being police officers. A lot of people are saying, no way, Jose, I don't want my children doing this. I don't want to have anything to do with this. People are retiring early. Some of them who are hired are actually getting to the point where before they even work a full year, they're quitting, you see? So that is the state that we are in right now. This environment is just getting out of control here, and it is what it is. This is what they have created, okay? They don't want to hear from anyone else. They are right in everything. Number 45 think he has it all figured out, but this is the environment that you have helped create since you've gotten in office. The decline in police numbers started a long time ago, but it's getting worse under your watch. Okay, with that, family, I'm done with this article. With that, I'm going to say shalom. Be sure to ring the bell to be notified of new uploads on this channel, and also comment, share, like, and subscribe.